Hello, Money Queens and listeners. Welcome to Women Behind the Millions. Let's meet the women behind the millionaires, the women supporting, guiding, celebrating women with their wealth. You will hear from women millionaires, how they got there, what they wish they had known, what got them to be a millionaire, the emotional side, the spiritual side, the practical side of wealth. You'll also get to meet the women behind the scenes helping make it happen. Let's dive into Women Behind the Millions. I am Jessica Weaver, your host, best-selling author of 3 books, wealth advisor, and founder of the Women's Wealth Boutique. Let's start meeting the women. Hello, welcome back, Money Queens, to another episode where we talk all things power, pink, and prosperity, of course. Today, we're talking about something that drives everything in business, but most people don't fully understand it or how to capture it. Attention. We are very fleeting. We have the attention span less than a goldfish, which is wild, but I can get it with my young kids. I totally see that happening. Today's world attention isn't just about marketing. It's the currency, right? We want eyeballs on our stuff, and we are constantly fighting everything else out there. And in such an overstimulated world, you'll see on your screen, there is a QR code where you can go ahead and scan so you don't miss an episode of Women Behind the Millions. But it's also a great prompt for those of you who are thinking of writing a book and ready to step into thought leadership. So you could scan it, get that amazing gift from us here at Pink Fix Productions too. Well, tonight we have a bonus episode. We have with us Josy Amann. She's a co-founder of AXM, a woman-owned media strategy and intelligence agency. She has 20 years navigating how media influence and consumer behavior evolve. So let's bring her to the stage. Hello, Josy. How are you tonight?
Hi, Jessica. It's so nice to meet you. Thank you for having me on.
To meet you as well. You are a fellow East Coaster, though you're not living on the East Coast right now. So it's always fun to bring somebody somewhat local back to you. You are here from San Francisco. Talk to what got you into media. Where did this come from? Was this a childhood dream of working in lights and media and all that good stuff?
Yeah, no, not at all. It was not even on my radar at all. I went to college in New York for psychology and sociology. I had a double major, and I think I really wanted to be a psychologist, and fell into media buying and planning. I had moved out to San Francisco from Long Island, and one of my friends from college called me up and said they're opening up a new agency in San Francisco. You would love the woman boss there. You would really hit it off with her. I said, I'm not sure what media buying and planning is. And she said, that's fine. Just go to the interview. You're going to hit it off and you're going to get the job. And she was right. And I got the job. It was my first interview out here. So I felt really lucky and fell in love with it very quickly.
Wow. What was it like back? How long ago was this? What was it like and how has it evolved over the years?
You're going to date me, Jessica, now.
Oh, no.
I think I moved out to San Francisco in 97. So it was probably around 90, right after I moved out. And it was right before the .com bust and everything. So it was wild. San Francisco was wild. The Bay Area, just trying to get a job or a place to live was insane. So it's a very different time. And it was a time when, I felt very fortunate to have my first boss as a woman. I think that changed my trajectory.
Rare back then.
Yeah. And she was outstanding. She was amazing.
Was she a mentor to you through your career?
For sure. For sure. And it was just someone that I watched intently because she was very strong. She was very strong-willed. She was very compassionate all at the same time, especially for her people. She really, really stood up for us, but also had a C-suite of men for the most part. There were maybe 1 or 2 other women, but it was mostly her against men. And often she was slammed down and she just stood her ground always. And she was amazing. She was amazing to watch.
I was thinking, what challenges did you experience or see other women facing in this industry, building their careers?
Well, I don't think there was a lot of leadership, women in leadership positions. So there wasn't really anyone to learn from. That's why I think I was so lucky having that position and being in that position. I don't think you expected much or to move up quickly. But she taught me differently, and just kind of some other experiences I had early in my career taught me differently. And that's, I think, how I had the courage to actually start a business way back when.
Oh, sure. Sure. What, as in, has it shaped your leadership style now?
For sure.
Founder, and what? I'm in a male-dominated industry, the finance industry, and I feel because I had mostly men mentors, as my father included, I wasn't taught to embrace the female qualities and bring them into the workforce. So I'm curious, since you had a female boss from the beginning of your career, do you feel like you've been able to tap into those feminine qualities a little bit more?
Definitely, especially as the agency has evolved. But I think you're right about that. I mean, my business partner and I, when we started the company, we tried to make everything super masculine. Our website, our logo, our colors, everything was super masculine so that we could at least get a call and be able to show up, because we felt like if we were feminine at all in our marketing materials, that we just would be overlooked. So then having to have an agency where now we have, over 50 people and, people from all over the country. We have a remote first agency. We've really had to, become the leaders we always wanted to be or wanted for us. And I think it was very intentional from the beginning. We always said, we're going to create a different type of company, and that company is going to be in one that we would like to work for.
That's a great way to look at it. Yes.
When we were starting out, I was 29 when I started the business with my business partner, Taji, and we wanted to have families. We wanted to have kids. How is that going to be possible? I just couldn't understand, because I was at the office every day until 9. How are we going to do that?
Yeah. I was just going to ask, so talk us through the launch of AXM. It's a woman-owned media strategy and intelligence agency. I align with that. We are an all-female financial firm. I love that.
Yeah.
That's what you do. What was it like starting it? What were some of the struggles you faced early on, and how did you get through them?
Yeah, I think one of the hardest times that we had is that my business partner and I, respectively, in our own families, got pregnant at the same time.
Only happens with women have to deal with this.
I couldn't even believe it. I had just found out I was pregnant. She called and said, "Yeah, I'm pregnant too." And I said, "How are we going to do this?" And, not easy showing up to new business pitches with these really big companies and often male-dominated industries. And we're both pregnant. So that was really hard to get through. We made it through. We ended up having our children 5 weeks apart. So we could and our agency at that time was very small. We were maybe 5 people, 10 people at the most. So we couldn't take extended maternity leave. So when I had my baby, she had her baby 5 weeks later. So I had 5 weeks of maternity leave. Could have been worse, but I had 5 weeks, and then she took 5 weeks, and then that was it.
Wow.
That was really hard. Whole time, dude.
I can imagine. I did about 6 weeks maternity leave with my kids, and it is tough.
Not enough.
Looking back, I'm like, I don't know if I can even go down that path, reminiscing about it, because you don't realize how physically, mentally, emotionally you are just spent.
Yeah,
exhausted. But you can't show that to the clients and anybody around you. You have to keep it together. I would love to talk, Josy, about this scaling. You went from, you just said, having your first kids, 5 to 10 people. So now having 50, what do you credit that growth to and that scaling? How did you scale?
I mean, time, right? It's been 21 years. So definitely time is a function of that, but it's also been intentional growth. We never wanted to get to 100, say. We were at 75 at after COVID. We were at 75. And it kind of tipped the scales after 50. I think we're hiring right now, we'll be at 55. But it tipped the scales to grow. We went from 25 to 75 in a year. A lot of agencies saw huge growth during COVID and after, just because of market conditions and types of companies wanting to spend. But so we grew so fast that all of a sudden it was hard because you don't know who you are anymore and you have to rebuild all of your structure. So that gave us an opportunity to do that. And now, with hindsight, we are so much stronger because we had to go through that really fast, rapid scale and then pull back and clean it up. And now with our process, our culture, the way our company runs, it's beautiful. It's beautiful, but it was kind of unlikely like that.
Yes. I love what you were saying though, because I don't know about you, but for me, there's always this innate fear of growing too fast and things falling through the cracks.
Yeah.
But you almost gave credit to growing so fast, made you get your shit together.
Yes.
Let's say, create the right systems. And even if you did overextend, you were able to streamline it, get back to that niche, that sweet spot.
That's exactly right.
That you found, and having no regrets. Like, could we go to the 100 and figure out, we don't like it there. We like it here.
Yeah.
This is our spot. Number two, how has media changed? I mean, we've seen, the typical commercials, even the show, people like, most people are watching content like this streaming. Yeah. They're not watching a typical cable. So those commercials, it's all so different. You add in social media, influencers.
Yeah.
What are some of the new trends that you guys see a lot of success with?
Well, if you think about where we started, again, I date myself, it's right when digital was being invented. When I was first in the business, I was working on TV campaigns and, a little bit of internet, but you were really, it just wasn't as fragmented. And then digital media exploded and obviously has evolved over the last 20 or so years. But even more so now with digital and CTV and OTT in general, media is so fragmented. Finding people's consumer behavior, it's so different and so varied that, building a media plan, if you have $100 billion, great, and you can reach everyone and you have, you already have a high brand awareness, great. But if you don't, it's a struggle and you have to really use a lot of technology and tools to be able to do that. And that's, I think, what we bring to the market.
Oh, that's amazing. Very true. You're constantly fighting for eyeballs and attention. And our attention is less and less and less.
Yeah.
I'm bored too. Break down someone building a brand from scratch and they want those eyeballs. They want to grow their visibility. Where do you take them through? What's the process like?
Yeah. Well, I think it's first is right sizing a budget because here are your goals. Here's what you want to do. Do you have enough money for that? And if not, take the budget and try to be really realistic about the impact that budget will have. And you're going it. So that's the first step is just making sure we have a very intentional budget discussion up front. And then it's taking them through the audience. Who you're trying to reach and what does that look like and how specific, and you really can get very specific these days on audience. So you want to, find someone that has young kids and wears pink all the time and, is in finance and successful, we can find you. There are ways to do that. So, finding your audience and really digging in there and really segmenting the audience so that you can think about different messages that go to each audience and different platforms to reach them on is really important. And then it's about strategy. It's all about strategy, really thinking, what's our North Star? What are we really reaching towards? And how are we going to extend that budget and best spend it? Whether it's flighting or thinking about seasonality and things that might make sense for the business. And then lastly, it's about, and some most of the time, very importantly, is measurement. And measurement has evolved over time. It's very difficult now because of cookie deprecation and loss of identity signals, and you can't track people the way you used to. So you have to have different ways to measure whether your media is working. But it's really important because without that, you're spending money and you don't have any accountability for the budget. So we developed a proprietary platform called Agile Mix Modeling. And that we developed it. It's 4 years in the making, and it's helping our clients stand behind their budget. And they can go to their board and say, look, this is the incremental business or sales that we brought from our media advertising. And now we finally have that story.
Amazing. All right. So budget and goals, what's your North Star, the strategy, and the measurement, the accountability to make sure it's working. We're putting the money and energy, time, attention where we're getting the most ROI.
That's exactly right.
Incredible. Working with companies like Disney and Nike, what do they understand about attention that smaller brands don't? Obviously, they have a much bigger budget. They've been doing it for a long time. But what are they thinking about differently than we are?
So larger brands in general, they have the brand awareness, right? And clients that have 98, 99% brand awareness is very different than someone that's trying to sit in a sea of other companies that no one knows your name. It's a very different path. So when you have that brand awareness and everyone knows Coca-Cola, why are you spending money advertising? Because you're winning the hearts and minds. So you can really take on an emotional stance. So your messaging can really have more storytelling, and you can really be at a high level brand advertising type of messaging. Mm-hmm. Whereas brands that are just starting out or aren't known by many people, you have to catch people's attention really quickly. So maybe an emotional story could work, sure, but you have to get to them quickly while they're looking for products or whatever that you're selling to say, hey, please consider us. You got to get in that consideration. So it's really a very full funnel effort at that point. And again, it goes back to your budget and really being able to spend it efficiently at each stage of that funnel. It's really important.
I never thought about that, but everybody knows who they are. Now they get to take the time to create that emotional bond. I think of Shark Tank, how many times when the sharks are asking, you have to educate your audience on this. And do they have that attention span to fully educate them quick enough for them to then convert to a sale? And if it's too long to educate them,
yep,
it's a done and not done. They're on the chopping block.
You have to talk about solutions. Very quickly you have to get to what problem are you solving for, so that people hear it and they identify with it and then they look.
So there's a brand awareness, there's the education behind it, and that solution. So you're trying to do a lot of things very quickly as a new brand.
That's right. And your advertising has to match. Like a brand ad might look very different than a performance ad. So you have a brand ad that could be beautiful, and oftentimes video, CTV or audio is used for a brand because, again, you're making that connection. Then you have a mid-funnel consideration. You might want to give a little bit more information about the product. And then you have your lower funnel where you're saying, hey, here's a deal on that product, and so that you could really get them to go and purchase.
So it sounds like, Josy, instead of it being one longer piece, advertisement, whatever it is, it's more these quick little ones that keep hitting and expanding the story, the awareness, education along the way. I never thought about it that way, but it's
exactly right.
These quick hits, and to stay at the forefront too.
Yeah. And extend your budget.
Right? Like, there you go. That's why we work with Josy.
Very budget conscious.
We're going to take a quick break. This is fascinating conversation, Josy. We're just going to take a quick shout out for the Pink Fix store, and we'll be right back, ladies. Welcome to the Pink Fix Shop, where rebels, trailblazers, and legacy builders find their voice in every sip, stitch, and page. From best-selling teas to manifesting mugs, every item is designed to spark conversation and celebrate your story. Start building your legacy in style, only at pinkfixproductions.com. All right, we are back with Josy talking about all things advertisement, media, attention, capturing the attention. We were just talking about how it's not these longer, more educational pieces, but these quick snippets of information to build brand awareness, to educate, and to show the solutions that you work with. And then eventually in building that emotional tie to your ideal audience too. I'm curious, what advice would you give to women building their own companies right now?
I think one of the biggest things is building that network and finding mentors and asking questions, and not to be too proud or too nervous to reach out to people. That people want to help, especially women that are extended in their career. They want to give you tips. They want to, even if it's a 15-minute conversation once a month, if we can help anyone and shortcut some of their, give some of our experience to help their progress, people are up for it. But I know that's something that I didn't do early on. It took me a long time to understand that, or to kind of get the guts to do that.
Yes, sure. How about what's the most overrated marketing tactic right now?
Overrated marketing tactic.
Yeah, what are you putting a lot of money behind?
I think what has really shifted in the market that got people overspent is kind of what we were just talking about in performance marketing. People went especially with the, Facebook and Meta and Instagram and everything, that they had this place where it was really easy to measure because everybody's logged in. So everybody spent in mostly Meta and Google for years thinking that they can do all the things there. And you do have an attentive place for people because they're either searching for you or they're getting a single ad in one space. So it's not a terrible way to reach people, but everybody shifted all their money to Meta and Google. And they got stuck when, one, they couldn't measure because it became harder to measure. And then two, they weren't spending in other places, and they weren't spending towards brand. They weren't spending in CTV. They couldn't measure all these other places. So they stuck all their eggs in one basket, and they have to dig themselves out of that performance hole because and that's every brand, whether it's B2B or B2C right now, is reinventing brand and bringing back the funnel. And now we have measurement tools to really measure it and to be able to show, hey, you ran that podcast ad, it actually did something. Whereas a couple of years ago, it was hard to prove out the worth of that podcast ad.
Ooh, great point. And I have seen, especially coaches, live and die by the Facebook ad world, and something changes, everything dries up. Now they're scrambling and broke. What my one friend Julian says, broke money doesn't make money. All of a sudden you're in that scarcity mindset, and that comes across to people. They can feel it when you're desperate for money, desperate to work with them. So it sounds like having marketing in a strategic and diversified way. So not everything's banking on this one way to come in. And to your point, having a way to measure all of the activities.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that was one of the biggest turning points, I think, in our company, is that when we had the idea that we knew that this measurement was broken, and we said, why don't we go and build something? We've never done that before. We're not software engineers.
Where do you start?
You hire some really smart data science, and our head of analytics and data science, Sarah Owens, was brilliant and could lead a team and bring it all together. And that is really, it's amazing that 4 years later, we have this tool and platform that our clients are using, and it's a different revenue source, which is really interesting too.
That's so smart, so strategic. And Josy, well, we have just one more question. The time has flown by. We could spend so much more time with you. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it.
What makes you a woman behind the millions?
What makes you a woman behind the millions?
So cute. I really think it is when you set out to do something different and it's intentional, it's not just about making money. You can do great things. And I think that's why we've been successful. The agency we've created, the culture we've created, it's a whole different animal. It's kind of like putting on your mask on the plane to save someone else. If you have a really strong, healthy, beautiful company, you're going to show up in the best way you can for your clients. And I think that's really has made our success.
And helping more women build their brands, that visibility, so they can support themselves and they can build out. And now they have a team and they're supporting their families too. It's just amazing, amazing. Well, going back through, I have so many notes. Building a business while raising kids, raising a family. It's always incredible to meet women who were able to do this and be that inspiration for other women. I know I have single moms on our team or women who want to become mom. Like seeing other women be able to do it gives me that hope that it can be done. I don't have to sacrifice myself or my career, the family, to be able to do it. We're talking about having your budget, your goals, your strategy, and measuring it. That's been a very common theme throughout our conversation here. Building out your network if you are a new business owner and launching and diversifying your marketing. Did I miss anything, Josy?
No, that was amazing, Jessica.
Probably a lot. Well, that's why you have to reach out to Josy Amann. It's been so nice having you on Women Behind the Millions. Thank you for spending some time with us and giving us your expertise.
It's really nice to meet you. Thank you for having me.
All right, Money Queens, we will see you on our next episode of Women Behind the Millions. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Hi, ladies. What if the life you're dreaming about isn't too big? What if the wealth, impact, legacy, and purpose on your heart were placed there for a reason? For too long, women have been taught to shrink themselves, to choose practicality over possibility, to dim their light instead of letting it shine. But what if the answer isn't less? What if the answer is more? More faith, more creation, more expansion, more of who God created you to be. The Pink Code is an invitation to step beyond limiting beliefs and into a life of limitless possibility. Because your story isn't finished. Your next chapter starts now. And your blank page is full of possibility. The Pink Code, coming this July. Hey, Money Queens, looking to get your wealth to that next level, 7, 8, 9 figures? Follow us on Instagram at PinkFixMyMoney and at Women's Wealth Boutique for more millionaire money tips.